Ladies and gents, this is ML's like Team Spirit. Today I've got Marnie with me. Marnie, hi.
Hi, John. Thanks for having me.
Welcome. Marnie, could you tell us about yourself, please? You've never been with me before. Could I get an intro? About 60 seconds, please.
Sure. So I'm Marnie. I'm an AI trainer and strategist. I help business owners adopt AI into their workflows, but most importantly, realize that AI is their strategic partner and that we are going into a technological revolution. And now is the time to be efficient, creative, and not get left behind.
Good. Marnie, you tried to not tell us your story. I want you to tell us your story, please, as to how you got into AI. Could you tell us about your solopreneurship and how you pivoted into this, please?
Okay, really fast. I was a PE and science teacher from Australia. I moved to the UK. I taught PE and science here in London. I hated every minute of it. I had a chance to start my own business because I got asked to resign due to being a dual international athlete and traveling the world playing sport. And I had used up all my time that I could have off. So I was like, no problem. I'll resign. I'll just start my own business. I started two because one isn't enough. COVID hit, both closed down, both went online. I learned so much about online business and AI and automations in that time, even though I didn't really know what it was. I was definitely the business owner that didn't think that I was very techie, so I outsourced a lot of things and it dug into a lot of profit margins, including the time where I used a copywriter because I was trying to franchise my sporty minis. And it just wasn't working. And I discovered Jasper AI. And since then, been completely hooked. Obviously, ChatGPT hit the world in November 2022, and it has just been ongoing for me. Now I spend at least 20 hours a week learning all things generative AI and how to apply that to business. And as you've said many times, I am probably very AI obsessed and have now started a consultancy business for that exactly.
Wow, Marnie, welcome. So you used to outsource everything and now you insource everything, which is really the thrust of what I wanted to try and capture from you today. So one of the things I wanted to get to, Marnie, I've spent a lifetime in marketing. Marketers mostly obsessed with like generative AI side, but some still not. Some still feel it's a bit of a fraud or something, or feel uncertain as to whether they should. And I wanted your help to kind of get under the skin of like this kind of mindset change that's required. So I'm sensing you've undergone the mindset change with this 20 hours a day or whatever it is you're doing. But you've got a philosophy behind this. So can you take us through it, please, around what you're seeing with your clients and like the critical elements for those that are still on the fence but before using generative AI?
Cool. Okay, so I think I'll start by cracking a few myths. I think it's really important to understand that generative AI and the tools that the general public have access to or use, hopefully after this conversation, they'll use on a daily basis. It requires no technical experience at all. And it's really important to note that you do not need to be techie to be using generative AI tools on a daily basis. The second thing I think is really important is to shift the mindset around AI being kind of the next Google or AI doing jobs for you and that it's going to take your job. The reality is that is not where we are at. AI can do things for you, but in my opinion, it's giving outcomes or giving outputs that are very generic. And we're better than that as a human species. So instead, we need to be thinking about AI being our collaborative partner and being our strategic thinker. We as humans have our own domain expertise, our knowledge, our experience, our perspectives. Just generally, we're all individually unique, and especially in our professions as well. So we need to be training AI to know that about us, but also to be asking us strategic questions every time we ask for an output. That's probably one of the big mindset shift is, and I have a sticky note on my laptop that says, can AI do this better with me? Not for me, but with me. And I've trained my AI tools. I use 3-4 on a daily basis, but they all custom to ask me 3 strategic questions every time I ask for an output from the AI model. One is what's your perspective on what I've given you? Number 2 is anything strategically that you can add, and number 3 is how can I think outside the box? and I'm asking the AI to think outside the box. So it's asking me, how could it think outside the box? So, they're the things that I think we need to move to in terms of the mindset shift from AI is not just a Google. AI is more your strategic thinking partner that can help you be more efficient, creative, but also for marketers. I know you're the stats man, and you have some stats that you're going to share later.
Yeah,
but
I do.
marketers' job role is the jobs are still going to be there. The job descriptions are going to look completely different. And we already know that marketing has been hit with social search. Social media has been around since 2005, but really we probably, really hit hard with social media probably from about 2008 when the smartphones really hit in. And it's taken that amount of time to get to the point where now people don't Google, they actually use TikTok to find a shop, or, they're on Instagram. Social search is already changing and has changed and will continue to change, but so will AI search. You can now use ChatGPT to buy. Perplexity is now looking to collaborate with TikTok. We know Grok AI, which is Elon Musk's AI, is embedded into X. So there is now going to be AI search within the marketing reel. So if you are a marketer and you're a little bit, I guess, put off by the content that's been putting out there, because it does sound generic, and there's a lot of, what I call rubbish in, rubbish out coming around. It's your job, and it's our job as society to train AI the way that we want it to be outputting. And it needs a lot of guidance, it needs a lot of context, it needs a lot of knowledge, and in your terms, it needs a lot of data. So now is the time to jump on board.
Well, Marnie, we'll get into the marketers in just a moment. And you're right, I have got some statistics here prepared for you. I'm curious, when you're running your trainings and so on and so forth, do you deliver trainings to folk who say to you, I don't know what to write? Like, are there people out there and they're just sitting at an AI and like do not know what even to ask? And then what are your tips in that case? So I'm trying to get the polarization here is that my perception is that marketers are super hyped by all this, and like very interested in generative AI. Quickly tell me about the other end of the scale. Like, what's your tips when people just have a job and they work in, don't know what, finance, and they say, I don't know what to write, Marnie? Like, where do you start with them?
I start with an AI audit. So I basically ask them to write the top 3 things that took them a long time that day, or the most time for them that day. And then the top 3 things that they've done today that they did yesterday. So they're looking at the repetitive tasks, and they're looking for the tasks that have taken them a long time. And then the next step is, explain to me exactly what that required you to do, what's the logical thinking process, write down the steps for me. And then we jump onto their AI tool, whatever it is, and we're basically trying to give it a prompt. So if a task that I worked with a lady, she is a tutor at a training course just yesterday. She's a tutor, and one of her biggest tasks that took her that long was to create a flyer for what she did to hand out to a local PTA or something like that. And it took her quite a long time, right? Again, we're coming a little bit into marketing here, but I was like, okay, well, what was your logical step? She's like, the what, why, the how, that type of thing. I'm like, okay, well, we create a prompt. We go to her AI model. She just downloaded ChatGPT a couple of weeks beforehand. And I said, okay, here's your role, be an expert marketer as an education consultant, and help me create a flyer that will advertise, and then XYZ, she put in the details. And then again, we said, ask us clarifying questions, or ask me clarifying questions, which was for her, ask me clarifying questions that allows you to know more about myself and my business that we could share. And then that was her marketing done. She was blown away, just simple things like that. Realizing that the AI could do it quicker and faster for her, but also now she's starting to train her AI to know about her and her business and what she does.
Let's pivot back to the marketers, though, my community. So here's my statistics, Marnie. I better just read them out for everybody. This is what caught my eye the other day. 57% of marketers feeling overwhelmed by the number of tools available. Well, I think we can all appreciate that one. And then the other one that's interesting too, 35% have abandoned AI tools that didn't seem to save them any time. So this is probably like a shiny toy syndrome, where you try 10 things at once, disappear down a rabbit hole, and don't really save yourself the time that you thought you might. Do you have a perspective on like these statistics, or if I came to you and laid on the therapist's couch and said, "Oh, Marnie, this is me. Too many tools, too much time wasted." What would you do to bring me back to reality?
I would probably start by saying, you're awesome at what you do. Let the early adopters do the hard grind for you and find the tools and find the workflows and find the case studies, and only adopt it once you know it works for you. Come back and just start with the off the tools, LLMs, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Perplexity, and Grok. I know Meta has just now done their app, but just start with those, 5, 6 core ones. Or even start with one if you haven't started anywhere. If you're completely overwhelmed, start with ChatGPT, because we know it's this army Swiss knife of LLMs. But yeah, just start with one, go back to that. And I think why people are overwhelmed and why they don't think it saves them time, again, is because they haven't given their AI model the data, the knowledge base, the context about who they are, what their business does, their mission, their values. They should have an AI assistant or a project, if you're in ChatGPT, for each of their clients. You can't use the one chat or each. I had a VA who had 21 clients and she had a different chat for each 21 clients. I was like, oh no, gosh, no wonder you feel like it's taking longer, and no wonder your systems and processes really aren't working. I was like, you need an AI project for each of those clients that you have. And in that project, you need to have the knowledge base, and you need to have the customization, and you need to give the AI the data that it needs to be able to do just to be able to be your strategic thinking partner, because that's really where we are at with using generative AI at the moment. And then just have one or two kind of, thought leaders or industry leaders for marketers that use AI, and then just use their, try their case studies. But I would let the early adopters that absolutely love it, of which it's their job to test and try, let them do it all for you, and then just reap their rewards rather than trying to do it all yourself.
Yeah, I was just wondering who was even surveyed. A bunch of marketing people on payroll. It's different, isn't it? Exploring all these things on payroll, being like, I don't know, a consultant or a solopreneur is a bit like, oh no, I accidentally spent 8 hours learning a different LLM when I should have been prospecting or whatever. But hey, Marnie, good news for you. We're nearing time, so these go quickly, don't they? So let's try and recap. So on the mindset change, I think what I heard there is, trying to see AI as a partner. I heard the bit about your special prompt where you try and have AI challenge you. So this I don't hear too often. So prompt the AI to bring you back challenging questions to anything that you ask. And then in terms of an on-ramp for people wanting to start, like looking at your own pain points, just trying to write down things that take a long time, things you hate, is a really good starting position. And then for people probably like me, marketers with like 27 apps on their desktop, maybe just roll it back a little bit. Focus on the core ones. And Marnie, I can't let you go without asking you, what's your go-to? What LLM is? What AI are you using? Tell me your favorite.
Oh, I get this question all the time, and I can't just give you one. Can I give you 3?
Go on.
Perplexity,
Mm-hmm.
Claude, and I have a really, really amazing AI tool called Recall AI, and it basically all of my laptops, so on my Chromebook, all of the tabs I've got open, everything on my phone, everything I've read, listened to, it all goes into my personal recall. And anytime I think to myself, oh gosh, I remember seeing some Google Gemini updates, I can't remember what it says, I just go into recall and I say, what's the recent Google updates that I have seen? Now, it doesn't scroll the web for everything. It is just in my recall library. So it's everything that I've already kind of consumed myself. It's amazing.
Marnie, I've never heard of it. I'm going to download it as soon as we finish this. Does it save me from having 5,000 Chrome browser windows open at the same time? Is that how it helps? Oh, okay, we're finishing this, Marnie. Thank you for your insights, ladies and gents. This has been ML's like Team Spirit.